Hello everybody, my name is Stratnos, and welcome to my weekly Vault video here on Horrific Visions launch week, aka 3 weeks before Horrific Visions are done being time-gated week. I don't actually know all that much about the Horrific Visions system, I'll admit. I haven't done much PTR testing on it or anything. Haven't done any PTR testing on it. But I have heard there's a 3-week time gate that we're looking at here, so I don't know. I'll make some guide content for Horrific Visions soon, but it sounds like I've got some time, so maybe this week. I've got another cool video coming out later this week as well. But first off, we have my Paladin. Now, my Paladin purchased a Jaster Diamond thanks to the Puzzling Cartel chips last week. And yeah, this character's pretty much done. The only thing I need is a Mythic Chrome Bustable Bomb Suit, which won't be particularly hard to get if I kill Gallywix again on this guy. It would be cool to get one in my vault, though, because then I'll feel better about sneaking my rats in instead on that boss. Okay. We've got a belt that's worse than my belt. We've got a one-handed sword, which actually is... This is a good thing to get access to, for sure. And then we've got Mythic Tier Shoulders, which I already have. So we're choosing between the one-hander, which I don't think I have that one-hander yet. I have the Mugsy one-hander, but this one is better stats, the one in my vault here. Now, I could use a socket still, but I can get a socket in a future week. I'm going to take this sword while I can, just because, I don't know, I may never kill Rick as well on this character again. It'd be nice to not have a reason to, so I'm really trying to, put the finishing touches on this character so I can make sure that all my other tanks start getting all the boss kills that they're going to need each week. All right, here's my DK. Picked up a best in slots with the dinar on this character. And don't really need anything on this guy either. I don't know, like a very rare cloak or something could be kind of cool. Okay, we've got the Dump Mech Compactors. These are pretty good stats for gloves. I could move my off-piece to gloves instead of pants. The Gear Grinder's Spare Key is with speed. Ooh, don't think I need that. And then from M Plus rows, I've been doing M Plus so that I can purchase M Plus trinkets with dinars, which I need on this character. This character needs to get, probably my next 2 dinar purchases. I guess I need a Jaster Diamond, and then I already have a Pacemaker, so the other one would be a Priory trinket on this character, so I need to actually make sure I get all the 12s done. But we have, Haste Mastery Bracers are probably the pickup here. So... yeah, I don't need any more sockets, but if I take these Haste Master Bracers, I'll need to socket them at some point. But then once I do, these are better stats than the Crit Mastery ones that I currently have. The gloves are fine, but not particularly exciting. I don't think I'm going to want... I think I'm going to want my gloves to either be crafted for one of my embellishment slots or tier. I don't think I'm going to want them to be an off-piece, just because I've been looking at my stuff, and I have crafted pants, boots, and cloak right now. The problem with pants is there aren't good stat pants, but I want to go higher eye level on them than I can get with crafted. 684 versus 681. So I'm probably going to have upgraded all the way to 684 pants, and then I think I want to do that for boots as well, because I've got Rick's walking boots. These are pretty good stats. So I might bring those up to 684 as well, and then if I put tier in my pants, then I'll just have to swap my gloves to be crafted to get my second embellishment alongside cloak, which I will move one of my embellishments onto. So that's my current thinking on crafts on this character. It doesn't really matter, just some, again, finishing touches. All right, up next is my Demon Hunter. I did 4 keys on this character to also start working towards being able to dinar M plus items, because as you can see from my current delve trinkets, I would like those to not be delve trinkets and instead be like Pacemaker and Priory trinket, get access to those sorts of things. So yeah, loot spec can be Vengeance, because picking up a Priory trinket from the vault would go kind of crazy. Oh, but no tertiary, but still pretty good. Yeah, the other option is a slightly better statted cloak than I currently have, but I'll happily save the dinar. That's a very nice turn of events here, because there are still raid items that I'm going to want as well. A Jaster Diamond, maybe? Jaster Diamond has a bunch of mastery on it, which is kind of cringe for Vengeance, but maybe I'll still want to get one of those. Because the thing about Jaster Diamond is it might be kind of bad for me, but wearing it is still going to give other people near me stats, and that might just be worth, sandbagging the secondaries on a ring of mine. If not, then I can still dinar, the very rare cloak and another crowd favorite and a pacemaker to go with this Tome of Light's devotion. So I don't know. There's a lot of compelling options for dinars. Anytime something I was thinking about dinaring shows up in the vault, I'm gonna grab it, because you never know. You never know what saving a dinar might get you by, with your third purchase. You might purchase something cool and useful, and the other thing there would have been slightly better stats on the cloak, but who cares? All right, here's my monk. I did either 2 or a 3 of 8. I think it was 3 of 8 raid clear on this character, and also a keystone. Already got the dungeon trinkets that I want on this character, so the dinars haven't really got anything important to buy on this character until I can get, last few bosses killed and add those to the list, which I might do that this week. I might swap this thing in for main raid this week for some bosses. I'm not sure. Gotta decide exactly how I want to do that. But in the dungeon pool, okay, we've got haste mastery bracers. Not really something I want too much. I'm pretty sure I want bracers to stay crafted. Unless this was like crit verse, maybe I'd figure something out. And then we've got mythic gloves that I already have. I have my off piece currently on mythic gloves. Taking this would give me some flexibility to not have to catalyze my existing gloves if I wanted to move my off piece elsewhere. But I don't think I do want to move my off piece elsewhere. I guess I could maybe pick up like a good chest piece that was not very haste heavy, and then having this optionality would be nice. But I do still have a socket that needs to go into these armbands. I think I'm just going to take the socket. If I want to pick up tier gloves on this character, I don't think it's going to be particularly challenging to do that. So let's just grab the socket and get our value. All right, here's my prot warrior. You may notice the eye level on this thing is very, very high. That's because this character is the alt that I've been playing in alt raid, which was the one that we killed Gallywix last week, but we were, progging Gallywix last week up to that point. So I put the most effort in making sure that this thing was as strong as possible to make that as easy as possible. Picked up a Dinar Eye of Kazan for my troubles, and also a Gallywix shield from the kill. So yeah, my trinkets are looking really good on this character. My weapon and offhand are looking really good. My rings are both really good. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to replace one of these beautiful rings with a Jaster Diamond that I'll Dinar down the line. The only thing that's hero track still on this character is these boots, and I'm probably going to move a craft there, because I had a craft on a shield that I've replaced with this Gallywix shield, because it actually simmed even slightly better than my crafted shield. But yeah, I need to craft boots, but then once I do that, it's 684s and then 2 681s, so this character is basically done. But that doesn't stop me from picking up a really cool tertiary stat on an item, such as the Under-Circuit Racing Flag. Nope, okay. That's fine. The Wise Guy's Refused Offer. Ooh, it does have speed, though my existing one already has speed and is better stats. The Frontman's Wondrous Wall. Okay, even if this had a tertiary, it wasn't going to be better than the Galleytech Limited Edition effect. Same with the Sanctified Priory Wall, or the Cloak of Questionable Intent. All right, so the question is, am I going to get good use out of the socket? And the answer is a resounding yes. I have 2 items that need a socket, although I think the belt is going to be the lower priority one, as that is something that is going to maybe get replaced with the Delve belt at some point in the future. So that makes it pretty easy here. Just slam a socket into the full throttle face rig. All right, here's my Druid, another character that's been already lucky on trinkets with the Pacemaker and the Tome. So I don't really need M+ trinkets on this character, but that didn't stop me from doing 4 keys on it anyways, and also 4 Mythic Raid bosses, as our third characters are now killing. We just killed up to sticks on third characters for a little bit of extra loot. The way my guild works is we're requiring 3 characters this expansion instead of it was 2 in previous expansions, but the way that loot works with the way that, catalyst charges and tier and everything works, a third character is really good now. So we've added that, which There's some downsides, but the upsides are that I get easier tracks of gearing these characters as we have. Actually, we didn't even usually do a third mythic run. Last year we didn't do a third mythic run, but we were just doing 3, heroic splits in the first few weeks for the extra gear. This time around, we are adding a third mythic run to help gear these characters, and also just then eventually do more sales and make even more crazy gold this tier. This tier is going to fund us for a long time. But yeah, so we killed up to Styx on this character. I don't think I really need any raid loot up until Styx is the thing. I'm trying to debate what loot spec to go, because I've been trying to pick up an int weapon, an int two-hander. I think I'm gonna keep trying to do that, because I don't really need any of the agi stuff off the first few bosses, I'm pretty sure. Alright, we've got Styx's metal detector, an int dagger. I do have a champion track offhand, it looks like. Do I really only have a champion track offhand? Held an offhand. I do, okay. I thought I had a myth track offhand, but maybe I just passed on it. Ooh, we've got a Gigazap Zap Cap. Exciting intellect trinket with avoidance from M+. We've got a crit mastery ring. Now, it is a myth track ring, but it doesn't have haste on it, which is kind of stinky for Guardian. Or, ooh, avoidance on a cloak, on a crit haste cloak. All right, I'm gonna go with this. This is good. These are good stats for Guardian DPS. I prefer more haste, but the crit will do good damage, and I love picking up avoidance whenever I can. Even on tanks, I think avoidance is often an underrated stat, as there are a lot of tank abilities that are tagged as AoE. Like, you think about Gallywix, a lot of the things that actually hit tanks on that fight are AoE abilities. So it's good to always pick up some avoidance. The most historic fight, Argus, the main tank mechanic, was avoidance reducible. And they do that from time to time, so it's a good tertiary. I do prefer Leech on tanks, but I'll take what I can get. All right, here's my mage. I did 1 key. You can see from my trinket situation on this character that it's pretty appalling, but the problem is the M+ trinkets aren't that good. I kind of need the raid trinkets on this thing, but I'm never going to kill the last few bosses on Mythic on this character, so I don't know. I've just done the 1 key. We'll see what I decide to do with this thing, if anything, this season. But maybe there's some decent M+ trinkets. Okay, we've got Myth Track Helmet. Good stats on it as well, but I don't think this is supposed to be my off-piece for any of the haste-loving, stats for Mage. So I think we're just going to go with the Tokens of Merit, pick up a socket, or if I already have some sockets, which, yeah, looks like... Oh, no, I still need to socket my bracers, so... This is one of my few characters that could still use a socket after last week's socket massacre. All right, here's my Shaman. I did 4 keys on this character because I needed to heal a bunch of keys. So I healed a bunch of keys on my Shaman and my Priest, and I need to set up healing on my, Evoker as well, so that I can heal on that thing at some point in the future. But I've heard healing on Prez Evoker is kind of clunky compared to these other specs. Definitely Resto Shaman. Resto Shaman feels so good to heal on, but I've been healing on and off on Resto Shaman for a couple years now, so that might be part of the reason why it feels so easy. Loot spec Ellie's fine. Yeah, I got some pretty bad healer trinkets here. Maybe I could sneak this character in for a lock and stock kill, although it'd be hard. It's so hard to replace a tank. Okay, we've got Hand of Beladar, a one-hander. Don't think I'm going to need that. We do have Myth Track gloves, though. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I'm going to lose the avoidance on my gloves, but I'm going to go up to 684. That is a worthy trade, I believe. And how am I doing on Gildeds? Ooh, I actually have a bunch of Gildeds as well, so I can start upgrading. I guess... very short term, I could upgrade my Hero Track gloves instead. And that'd be something I would do if I wasn't so down bad for Valor Stones. I think I'm just going to have to... Yeah, I mean, I guess I have a decent amount on this character, but because they're account-wide, it is like an account-wide resource that I'm using every time I upgrade something, so let's keep the Myth Track ones on. I'm going to get a bunch of Gilded Crest this week as well from... I don't know if you get them from Horrific Visions, but... you do get them from Delve, so... I don't know, I guess maybe Perfect Visions will take away my chill Delve time. Alright, here's my Rogue. Everything's kind of coming together for my Rogue. The thing it's mostly just missing is crests, but I've gotten very lucky with which pieces I've gotten on the Myth Track on this character. One more dinar, or once I get all my keys done, I can dinar a cool M+ trinket. Okay, from the raid, I did do just some heroic raid on this character, just a heroic skip. Heroic skip's really good. It's you do the 4 heroic skip bosses, and you effectively get 45 ruined crests, or 45 gilded crests, because you get enough ruined crests to do an upgrade, and you get 30 gilded crests from the last 2. So not going to take either of these items, but that's why they're there. And then we do have a nice belt. Now, the belt, as somebody correctly pointed out last week, which I know, but I'd kind of forgotten about when I was talking about my rogue last week, the belt is a temporary slot, right? We're renting this thing, because eventually we're going to maybe put the Titan disc belt in. But this is still a nice upgrade over the craft piece I have right now. It'll be cheaper to upgrade to high eye level than the crafted piece I have right now. And there is a very small off chance that Blizzard will screw up and make the belt not as strong as it should be, and then I'll get to keep wearing this thing, which would be good. In fact, maybe the belt would be good if that was true. Wow, I need a lot of crests on this character. But yeah, this is really good stats, and it's got a tertiary on it. And the problem is, if they ever do something like the belt, like an Onyx Amulet or a Circe's Circlet, something that has lower stat budget on it, which Circe's Circlet wasn't that, but Onyx Amulet was. Those effects tend to be best for classes like, well, Outlaw Rogue is usually like the top of the list, but the other rogue specs are usually somewhere in the middle of the list where it's usually still worth doing, and then it's like casters, like Warlocks and stuff, that'll be most interested in saying, you know what, we don't need this proc, we just want stats, like they did with Onyx Amulet, so that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, if they make that belt anywhere close to good, my rogue is probably going to have to wear it, so still, we move on. All right, here is my priest. 671, things are looking pretty good on the upswing for this character. I actually healed 5 keys on this thing last week because needed to heal an extra key after I was done getting my 4. Loot Spec can stay Shadow, and really looking for chest piece, a cool ring. Ooh, Signet of the Priory is a cool trinket. Hyperthread boots. I think I'm probably interested in the Hyperthread boots. I don't think I really want Signet of the Priory. I'm sure this thing is actually not bad. Like, this probably is pretty good for Holy Priest, because you can just press this with Apotheosis. And it's probably pretty good for the other ones. Let me do a quick check, because I would rather not use an on-use trinket. But if it is good, then, I will. So the way we're checking if it's good, we're just seeing the trinkets people are using in keys. Shadow Priests are using Signet pretty often, which makes sense. This lines up with your... well, I guess if you're playing Void Weaver... I guess if you're doing really high keys, it's really nice in Archon, yeah. Disc Priest, not using it very much. Looks like kind of only when it's your only good option, and when you don't have raid trinkets. And then Holy Priest is... Ooh, Holy Priest is using it fairly often, although the higher level keys are using Galagio Bottle Service instead. I guess it's because this is a spec that kind of stacks a bunch of haste. The thing is, I'm not going to be able to get Mythic Rage trinkets on this character. So, given that, I might want M+ trinkets on this thing. But I really don't want to use a stupid on-use trinket, especially on my healer. I don't really like this kind of thing. I find when I'm playing a spec like Holy Priest, I don't really have a problem keeping people alive during my Apotheosis anyways. And I don't really want to use a Signet of the Priory desynced from my Apotheosis, because it's not going to be particularly strong. Just giving me stats. I guess it'll help a little bit with healing outside of that, but I feel like if I have an on-use as a healer, I want it to either do healing like the bottle service, which I guess probably scales well enough because I'd have enough haste on this spec for it to be kind of good. But I don't really like these sort of stat on-use ones for healers because of that effect where usually you want to multiply those with your cooldowns, but as a healer, I kind of want to spread out my power and have enough to keep people up when I don't have that going. So all of that to say, I'm going to trick myself into taking these boots instead of that trinket. If I really want that trinket later, I can buy it with a dinar anyways, because I'm definitely not getting those later raid bosses on this character's list unless I trick somebody to tank some raid, which I don't think I don't know. It's so hard to swap in a new tank for raids purposes. Like, I don't know. It's just so sketchy. It's one of the biggest ways you can lose pull during farm is make somebody new tank, and there's a whole lot of relearning to do. So probably not something that I can realistically hope for with the bosses that are hard enough, because all the good loot comes from the bosses that are hard and complicated tank fights. All right, here's my Evoker. Mythic version of the Blazicon Wax could be kind of fun. I've got a Florendo's Violet Light on this stupid character. I guess I really am just looking for a helmet or a decently statted piece of jewelry from the one key that I did. Okay, that looks like a helmet to me. Azeroth's greatest BEO cap. This one, it's even got pretty good stats on it, I guess, as well. Well, I don't think I really want versatility on this spec, but maybe I do. I think I wanted haste or something, but yeah, either way. This is basically a direct upgrade over my existing one, so very much can't complain, especially with just the one slot in the vault. That's a very good outcome. All right, here's my Warlock. I did a 3 of 8 on my Warlock, and also a Mythic Plus Keystone Dungeon. So let's see what we can find here. A socket. Oh, actually, I have some sockets on this character. I just need a socketable slot. Okay, there's a Flickering Glow Torque here. Now, this is a Mythtrack necklace in a spot that I currently have a Enchanted Runed Crest crafted necklace. So there's some argument for taking this. The problem is I'd be losing haste, and I'm already so light on haste on this character that needs a lot of haste. Okay, or there's a crit haste cloak. Now, my current haste is full verse, or my current cloak is full verse, which is not very good. I'm going to grab this cloak because, yeah, this character is in a very bad state with haste. Like, I level 670, 21% haste. I need so much more haste for this thing to feel good. Now, I don't have an awful lot of verse, so the little bit of verse that this was giving is actually not bad, but I still need to take these opportunities to pick up a little bit more of the haste while I can. All right, finally, last and least, it's my Hunter, my only character still below 670, slumming it out here at the 660s. But that's all about to change as mythic pants await us in the vault here. Okay, I did heroic. These are heroic raid items, unfortunately. Torn of Dark would be kind of cool, although I do have a crafted piece right there if it was mythic. But, ooh, we've got a Ravenous Honey Buzzer. Wow, that's a fun trinket. Really fun when you're playing a ranged class where you click on this stupid thing and it shoots you 15 yards forward, makes you not able to do stuff for a second or two. All for that sweet, sweet 1.8 million fire damage reward once every 90 seconds. Yeah, we're gonna be grabbing the socket out of this one, I fear. I wonder if I have anything good to socket on this character. I do have a belt, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, I already have a socket adding device. Maybe I should just not purchase a socket adding device and get ready to buy some... Oh, I could buy a bunch of Valor Stones. This would have been really good last week. I needed Valor Stones on a lot of guys last week, but I was able to grind some out with using my, Radiant Echoes on characters that had them. That was the main way I did it. Yeah, I guess this is probably going to be a socket adding device, but let's just keep them as tokens of merit in my bags for now, because a chance by the end of the season I don't need those sockets, and we're instead taking 3,000 gold and becoming extremely rich. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope your vaults were better than mine. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.